Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Rondo, the only Rondo that you want to get caught in the middle of. We got a jam-packed episode for you guys today. We're going to be talking about El Clasico reactions, Manchester United sacking of Erik ten Hag, MLS Playoffs, and Ballon d'Or talk. Started off quick, guys. Who should have won the Ballon d'Or?
Rodri.
Vinicius.
Rodri. More.
Rodri.
Yeah, deserved.
Because he's the best player in the best team, both for international and club. All they do is win with him. He was so integral to both of those teams, and there was not a dominant attacking season that you could have deferred to.
Was Vini robbed?
Robbed is a bit much, but he won Champions League, La Liga, and scored the winning goal in the semi-final of the Champions League, basically the winning goal in the final of the Champions League, and carried Madrid throughout the second half of the season. They win a double.
Every year for most of our lives, it's been Messi, Ronaldo. And those guys were so clear of everyone else that it wasn't even a consideration to bring anybody else on the fold. This is the first time in a minute that someone who's not one of those two or like that like attacking player, that winger, that striker is going to win it. So shout out to Roger, man. Action-packed weekend of storylines in La Liga, specifically the El Clasico beatdown at the Bernabeu. It wasn't a close game. Barcelona didn't get lucky and have a few things go their way.
Nah.
It wasn't a toss-up. They went into the Bernabeu and smacked Real Madrid. Is Real Madrid cooked and are Barcelona back?
We'll start with the is Real Madrid cooked? No. Are Barcelona back? I think so. I think they might, and that's kind of fun. Like, we didn't quite know if Hansi Flick was like a great manager still. He was sick for Bayern in 2019-20 in particular, but gets sacked by Germany, comes into Barca, gets only one major signing in Dani Olmo, but after what, 2 months, 3 months, has them playing a whole new style of football, and not even like the Messi, Suarez, Neymar team. I think they beat Madrid at the Bernabeu 5-1 like once. But outside of that, Madrid don't lose big at home. So look, Barca are back.
I totally agree that Barca are back. I think that the discrepancy in the game is not something you kind of compare back to that area, because I think that this was just more of a one-off for Madrid. I don't think that they're cooked. There's a long season left. Barcelona, I think, we're so good. It's almost as if the best thing that happens to them is not being able to register that many new signings, because look at all the youth that is coming through. Obviously, Lamine Yamal is one of the best players in the world, not just one of the best young players in the world, one of the best players in the world. It's incredible. He's somebody who would break through no matter what, right? But there are so many other really talented young players that are coming through his academy into the first team, and they're not being blocked by new signings. Like, this is a likable Barcelona team, one that you can root for, that you're excited about with all the kids breaking through and everything else. My one worry is it sustainable over a full season to be playing with this offsides trap? So Kylian Mbappe was offsides, 8 times the other day?
Yeah.
I think Madrid were offsides a total of 12, right? I don't remember the exact number, but they're more or less averaging like the opponent being offside somewhere between like 7 and 10 times. So per game this season.
Yeah.
Is that sustainable? I'm not entirely sure. So the title race is far, far from over, but what a day, what a weekend for Barcelona.
Yeah, Bogart, going off your point with the young guys, it almost seems to me like the financial struggles that Barcelona have gone through in the past couple of years have like forced them to realize, hey, we have one of the best, if not the best academy in the world. And we don't need to make these big money signings because we can't right now. But we're good because you have a lineup of 17, 18, 19-year-old guys who have been at the club since they were like toddlers, since they could run, and they're dominating. And I feel like the struggles have put them back into the mindset where they have to rely on it. And they're so good at that stuff. They're so good at developing young talent. I, for one, can't wait until they make Lamine Yamal legally add Spotify to his last name. Okay, so Real Madrid are not cooked. We've decided that.
Right.
But are the alarm bells going off in the Bernabeu?
They haven't gotten the same number of goals. And so last year, with no Karim Benzema, that wasn't an issue because you got 20 goals out of the midfield in La Liga from Jude Bellingham and everything else that was coming in the attack. Now it looks a little different because while Vini, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham, they can all score goals. None of them is like a natural center forward. None of them is the Robert Lewandowski, the Harry Kane, right? Like a classic kind of center forward, or again, Benzema, somebody who did a lot more than just score goals, but he was your goal scorer. And I think that I've overlooked that because of how good it was in the past. But this year, I think it's more glaring than in years past.
I agree with that, but my worry isn't necessarily with goal scoring for Madrid. I think it's defensively. I think they're really, really wide open in the midfield. And if you've seen them play against big teams, so it was Atleti, who obviously they're not going to hit on the break. They're just going to say, F you, you're going to have a nightmare for 90 minutes. But Barcelona was the perfect example, right? They were just cut through. There's no... I think Carlo Ancelotti was asked about it, and he said he wasn't worried about like the left-right issue. He was worried about the back to front. That there's a big fucking gaping hole there. So I think that's my real concern. I think they're going to score a lot, but in those big games against good defensive teams, I think they'll just get hit on the break a lot, and they need to figure that out.
Last thing when it comes to Barcelona Real Madrid is Lamine Yamal, top 10 player in the world right now.
Oh my God,
Easily.
yes. If I would start thinking about it at like top 5, top 3. Like top 10 is easy.
Top 5, and I'm not going to be like, but yeah, top 5 for sure at the moment. He's absolutely smashing it. And that goal that he scored, like to cut onto his right, just cook Mendy, who had actually had quite a good game to that point, and then just to smash one in. And this is my favorite bit. Do you remember the Ronaldo, like the Calma celebration? Lamine like kind of half did that, and I was like, like that's cheeky.
He's just got that mature aspect to his game as well, which like you have those young guys. You expect them to run at people. You expect them to bring a little flair. You expect them to bring excitement. But you also kind of look for a little bit of those like immaturity mistakes. I feel like he just doesn't really make a lot of those.
Bro, it's
He's a
not
robot.
happening.
It's incredible.
He's
Like he's
just-
17.
Manchester United sacking Eric Ten Hag. Okay, so United have had 7 managers since Sir Alex retired. And each and every one of them, regardless of how long their tenure has gone for, have ended up like public enemy number 1 for the fan base. United, to my like chagrin, is one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's one of the biggest brands. It's one of the most successful histories.
Sure.
What is going wrong with them that they have had so many managers come in and none of them have worked out?
It's a symptom of a sick club. You can't say that every single manager was bad. You cannot say that every single transfer decision was bad. This is a new ownership group, and they're trying to make changes, but they're being a little soulless. This has more to do with a sick club than it does Ten Hag's a bad manager. Again, like there's plenty to criticize him for. For me, them keep retaining him in the summer wasn't a huge vote of confidence because it was, we can't hire a successor that we feel great about, right? Like, so I was fine with that. Won the FA Cup, that's good, right? Like, and it makes sense why it's now. So Ruben Amorim, like, if he gets a job as is expected, I think he's a good manager. Will he be successful at the club? I don't know, because there are so many other things to fix. I'm optimistic. You give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm again, and going to, as like the fandom, as a Liverpool supporter, I was like, ooh, like this might be really good for them. And who knows? We'll see.
I think they're just trying to get an it factor or a spark in there somehow, man. Like,
And
all
you
right, we'll
think
bring
he
in the
could be
handsome young guy who's like exciting and fun and like, please give us something.
Like, and again, like there is no quick fix, right? Like even, and they've tried this, they've thrown a lot of money at it, and they're going to keep doing that. But it just, they need a healthier club, a healthier kind of sporting directive, healthier transfer policy, all of this, right? Like, so what they need to do is not lock onto, oh, this person's a savior. Oh, it's Bruno. Oh, it's Casemiro. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Like, there is no quick fix. There is no one thing. It needs to be a complete shift. And we'll see if Ruben Amorim will get that opportunity, will get that leash, will get the leeway.
One thing I will not have, by the way, and Casemiro, I think for me is an outlier, but one thing I will not have from United fans, pundits, whatever, is that these players aren't good enough to play for Manchester United. I think that's complete bollocks.
Yeah.
Like, the players they sign are objectively good footballers, and if they were managed properly in a decent environment, they would be good enough to play for Manchester United.
If those players are good enough, like you said, like if they are Manchester United caliber players, is that squad as a whole good enough to challenge for a European spot or a top 4 spot?
With the right man, with Amorim in and the right manager, yes. That they have the players to do it. I mean, look, you could go club by club, but if you say that City, Liverpool, and Arsenal are cut above and everyone else is kind of just like vibing and fighting for fourth, absolutely they're in that conversation.
It is harder than ever to make the top 4 in the Premier League. And again, I think that they would be capable. I don't think that they'd be my favorite. Again, if you clean slate, everything else that we've seen, I don't think they'd be my favorite for that spot.
Capability is there though. So what do you guys think it'll take for them to be successful? What do they have to do to turn around? Give me 3 things.
Patience, long-term vision, and a much improved transfer strategy.
Bang. 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
3 for 3. I think, but with patience, I'd just say fans and ownership.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just clarify both sides, a holistic patience.
A year from now, we'll do a foul or play on segment looking back at what we just talked about
Playing
here.
the tape.
Yeah. On the clip.
Yeah.
When United win the Prem this year.
Gents, switching gears a little bit on the home front, we're going to talk about MLS playoffs for a little bit.
Yes.
Rapid fire. Are Messi and Inter Miami going to win MLS Cup this year?
They probably should. I think they were obviously the best team over the course of the regular season. Supporters Shield, points record. I mean, most talent. Messi, not bad at football. And they were, I think, a lot better than the scoreline suggested against Atlanta in that first game. Brad Guzan made 8 saves and turned into prime Neuer with like so many clearances outside the box. Like he was smashing it. But it wouldn't surprise me if Miami win that second game and the silly game of 3 or best of 3 thing, pretty quickly. And then I think it's very difficult to see anyone stopping them from there.
So for me, Miami and Columbus are the 2 top tier apex predator title challenges. And like I don't have Miami in a tier of their own because I think Columbus can go to Miami and beat them. Miami should win MLS. Like that should be the expectations. They should be criticized if they don't. But after this very dumb best of 3 first round, it goes back to single elimination. So Miami, as long as they're playing, after they play this game 2 at Atlanta, they will not have another road game. But they are susceptible to losing. And I think Columbus can control a game against them. Not many other teams can in terms of possession, but they can take advantage of their defensive frailties. Against Atlanta United, they didn't put that game away. The goalkeeping hasn't been good this year. Central defense is extremely gappy. Their right back is not good. So for all the nice things and good things about Miami, there are legitimate teams that can push them. Again, Columbus, I just talked about it. FC Cincinnati, they're without their defender of the year. They missed on a couple center forward signings. They don't have a natural center forward starting right now. That team can beat Inter Miami. I truly believe that. LA Galaxy, LAFC, they can as well. Again, can versus will or should are 2 different things, but this is not a foregone conclusion. There are a lot of teams that can push this Inter Miami team because they're very susceptible.
All right, so Bogert, you mentioned breaking the news about transfers from MLS over to Europe, and I want to get your take, the Bogert truth test for some transfers from Europe to MLS. Rate these on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not going to happen, 10 being a lock. Kevin De Bruyne to MLS. What's the news on that?
Well, it depends on the timeline. If it's this winter, 0. Next summer, maybe a little bit higher than that. But in general, over the next couple of years, I'd put that at 7, honestly. So I reported this week that San Diego FC and Kevin De Bruyne's camp have had legitimate conversations. There was a rumor out there that San Diego offered him $20 million a year. That is not accurate. That is Lionel Messi money. They would have to get creative, maybe sponsorships would have to be in play. Sources told me that he prefers a move to MLS over Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabian sources have even told myself and Ben Jacobs, who writes with me at Give Me Sport, that the Saudi deal makers admit there has been no progress made on the Kevin De Bruyne front. They aren't ready to completely give up, but this isn't one where they're like, oh yeah, we're going to get it, right? So Kevin De Bruyne, San Diego, I think it could happen.
7 out of 10. Neymar.
I would have had this at a 4 maybe yesterday just because like you have to be dubious, particularly when it comes to Miami. Then I saw a report from like the Wall Street Journal or somebody, there's a business journal, that he bought like a $25 million property in Miami.
Oh,
That's
baby.
what Messi did.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, he might just be doing that for fun, though.
He might but he vacations there like
Yeah.
Suarez, Messi, Jordi Alba. Suarez wants to play another year. Messi, Alba, Busquets are all under contract for another year. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
How good would that be?
that'd be incredibly fun. That would be incredible. And again, whether it's like he's the kind of guy that I can't see him being in, outside of Miami, Los Angeles. Any one of those teams, I think that there are 2 people in the world that could really, really move the needle right now in terms of like watchability and so everything else that people getting eyes on MLS. It's Messi and Ronaldo. Neymar and people I talk to at the league at the highest levels, they're like Neymar might be the 3rd. So that would be really awesome.
I think of it in terms of like, would my parents know who this person is off the top of their head? And Messi, yes. Suarez, honestly, maybe not, but Neymar, 100%.
Yeah.
And there's very few players on that short list where my mom would be like, wow, did you see this? And he's one of them.
I think my mum about Neymar would be, isn't he that who rolls around on the floor?
Switch up a little bit. Still a transfer, but not one of the big name guys coming over to MLS. It's a guy who's in MLS already. There's been some drama so far in the playoffs. Evander, what's the situation? What do you think could happen with that?
Yeah, this is a difficult one. So Portland Timbers and MVP finalist Evander have been in contract talks for months. The relationships between Evander's camp and the Portland Timbers have frayed pretty badly. There was a contract offer on the table that would have been the highest in club history, that it would have been more than a couple other contemporaries like Denny Bouanga, Lucho Costa. And they kind of agreed to it. And then Evander's camp said, oh, no, we also want a release clause at $15 million. And the Timbers were like, you keep telling us you want to be here, you want to sign this. And then you also are insisting that there's a release clause in this. Those 2 things don't compute. So that's kind of on their end. Evander's camp feels like that there's been broken promises. I've asked sources, what are the broken promises? I have not. They haven't told me. So again, they're alleged broken promises right now. And then after they lost in the wild card game to the Vancouver Whitecaps 5-0, in the locker room after the game, head coach Phil Neville spoke, and then the GM Ned Grabavoy spoke about disappointment, right? Evander shakes his head, stands up, and says to the GM, "This is all your fault." And then an hour later goes on Twitter with a 6-tweet post thread. And one of the things where, the higher ups at this club, the fans don't deserve this, right? And so he's, allegedly talking about GM Ned Grabavoy or owner Merritt Paulson. And that relationship is completely frayed. There are still people who are telling me there's optimism. Maybe we can make it work. Maybe that there's a way forward. Another source that with direct knowledge of this was like, I think he's played his last game, because how many players, publicly say something like this about the front office and then stay at the club? How can they move forward? And for the Timbers, how can they trust that this won't just happen in 6 months? You give him the contract. What if this happens again every transfer window? Is this a player you can build around? Both Phil Neville and Ned Grabavoy said the tweet stuff, and that was selfish, straight up. Like, this is not what I was just like. Phil Neville was like, I love him like a son. I was really disappointed in him.
Friend of goal Evander. We're rooting for him no matter what happens.
Honestly.
Tom,
delightful player.
Quick follow-up. What's your screen time look like on a daily basis?
A lot. Well, I try to lie to myself, but my phone is different than laptop. I try not to add those two numbers together, so I don't even want to know.
Okay, fair
All
point.
right, that's fair. Tom Hindle, you went 0 for 4 in this segment last week.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And we're going to give you the chance to redeem yourself. So we got a Rondo classic. It's Tom versus Tom. The challenge. You guys are going to go back and forth, naming players or things or clubs from these categories until one of you can't anymore. If you are the last one who can't think of something to name, you lose. But you're going to start us off for this first category. Teams that wear red as their primary color.
Liverpool Football Club.
Manchester United.
Arsenal.
Nottingham Forest.
New York Red Bulls.
My brain is gone.
It's over. It's over.
There was like 7 Red Bull Global. The New York. I thought that was smart. Red Bull, because I was like Leipzig, Salzburg, Red Bull Bragantino. I was ready to go with 4 more Red Bull teams.
Oh, it's so over. Oh, Tom. Okay, you got 3 more chances to redeem yourself.
Under pressure. That's it.
The lights are too bright. Someone get this man a transfer.
Get
this man a transfer to Man United, bro. You'd fit in perfectly in that dressing room.
Hey.
Okay, Handel, you could start us off on this one to try and get yourself off on the right foot. All-time South American players in the Premier League.
Willian.
Alexis McAllister.
Oscar.
Ramirez.
Angel Di Maria.
Martinelli.
Emi Martinez.
Gabriel Jesus.
Lissandro Martinez.
Luis Diaz.
Giolo Celso.
Darwin Nunez.
Luis Suarez.
Oh, that hurt. I should let you in on that hurts. I should have said that. Allison.
Edison. Oh, don't bottle it. Don't bottle it. Don't bottle it.
Falcao. Right before the buzzer.
Fernandinho.
Oh, that's a good. You win.
You tapped
you got me a Fernandinho. No, that was
his dome.
Bayern Munich players from the 2010s. Handel, start us off.
Iron Robin.
Neuer.
Frank Ribery.
Mueller.
Thiago Alcantara.
Oh, that's a good one.
Don't bottle it.
Kimmich.
Xabi Alonso.
Lam.
Serge Gnabry.
Leroy Sané was there before.
I don't know.
Can we get a fact check?
How did you know that off the top of your head?
Producer Jack has better ball knowledge than everyone on this stage
Honestly,
right now.
Producer Jack actually does. Like, we're not joking.
This one's for all the marbles, guys. Stadiums in England at any level. Bogart.
Anfield.
Villa Park.
Old Trafford.
The Etihad.
Craven Cottage.
Vicarage Road.
Olympic Stadium.
That's so stupid. The Emirates.
Highbury? Or does that
It doesn't exist. Okay, all right. We'll keep it going. They have to currently exist. But
Okay.
that's allowed.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
I forgot that's the name of the stadium.
So dominant.
Wembley.
Clubs? Oh, wow.
Wembley's
A couple
okay. Wembley's
technicalities. I'm not.
Dude, it's 2 strikes now. You can't ask any more questions.
Tough more.
Oh my god. Why am I?
Don't bottle it.
These stupid sponsors are killing me, man.
Don't bottle it.
Yeah, buzzer.
Oh,
Yes!
That's it.
Get in. Thanks, mate. Well played. Great game. Great game. Great game.
This is going to be the one that
Great
goes on
game.
social, not when I got you on the
Bogart
MLS
has
one.
no ball knowledge. We need that screen time up. Get ready to learn the Wikipedia, buddy. All right, so we're going to move on to our second to last segment of the show. Foul or play on, Rondo Classic. So we're going to talk about a hot take, as always, when we're discussing MLS. Roll the clip.
Has Messi got the best retirement setup? Playing with all his ex-teammates, winning trophies and just enjoying football without much pressure. You know, that last little bit of your career, the twilight of your career. You go to Miami, then Florida. You get them to sign a few of your mates. You have a night out with
Busquets.
You have the odd night out with David Beckham as well. And then you still produce incredible magic on the football pitch and make everyone happy. He's had a couple of injuries, but he's come back, hasn't he? He started scoring again. It's ridiculous.
Foul or play on, MLS is a retirement league. Bogart.
Foul. No, it's Lionel Messi. If Messi was, Lionel Messi was just dominating France. Lionel Messi, when his last days at Barcelona, again, I know we're a few years removed now, dominating there. Jordi Alba, he could have kept playing in Spain if he wanted to, not at Barcelona level, right? But it's not like these players wouldn't be making a difference at good teams in the world. And furthermore, look up and down this roster. 21-year-old Paraguay international Diego Gomez. I broke the news that he's going to Brighton in the winter for like $16 million.
Do you know what's really funny? When I saw him score a goal for Paraguay, I was convinced he played for Brighton. I was like, he definitely plays for Brighton.
This is a Brighton player right here.
So they have him. They have Federico Redondo. That player costs them like $8 million. He's going to be playing for a big team in the next few years. Bangkok Kramaski came through the academy. So they have like 4 or 5 really highly talented young players.
The strongest of agrees, foul. I don't think MLS has ever really been a retirement league.
Been a while.
And it's been a long time since it actually has. It is now a place where talent can develop and where the standard is always raising. It is always going up. And I think now what you're seeing is that, basically, to summarize his very articulate point, these older heads are now supplementing like young and well-constructed rosters. Like the Galaxy is like, for me, kind of the perfect example, or LAFC even, right? Throw Giroud or Royce into a team that's already thriving, and then you have that guy to give you maybe a bit of an extra edge.
Yeah, no, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. It's really developed from like, you got a couple old stars and then a bunch of nobodies to like a couple old stars where there's the vets to mentor and add a little bit of a spark. But like the driving force behind a lot of these teams' success are like young South American and North American players.
I do like how we've reduced this conversation though to Messi as just a bit of a spark.
Topic 2. I know you guys feel strongly about this. Foul or play on, the MLS playoff system should be used across the entirety of world soccer.
Foul. And I hate our wonderful producer for framing it this way because he knew he was going to get me angry. But this playoff format should not be used in MLS right now. The best of 3 is stupid. It's nonsense. There are playoff systems elsewhere in the world. Playoffs are going to be unique-ish to MLS American soccer. I'm good with playoffs. I'm good with the playoff system. Best of 3 round 1 after a 34-game regular season is absolutely asinine. It's a waste of time. It's infuriating.
I mean, agree. The thing is, so foul. The thing is that gets me as well is that the best of 3 takes the entire jeopardy out of the whole situation. You feel like in a one-off, then maybe you could have an upset. But a best of 3, I just feel like you resort to the mean. Do you know what I mean? So say Atlanta, they could all nick one in Miami and then, oh my God, Miami goes out. But over 3 games, it's like the best team I feel like is always going to win. And then you get into complicated questions of seeding and this and that. But I don't think it adds anything other than more viewing numbers.
Yeah. Are they doing that just for the money then?
So the decision comes from more games for Apple TV and home games for some of these markets. Like because the TV deal on like Premier League is the biggest. Like Premier League makes more money from TV than they do from the match days. MLS has a fine TV deal, but it's still a lot of it comes with a gate. Atlanta United winning the wild card game again, 8 versus 9, a season where they had 40 or 43 points, 34 behind Inter Miami. The best thing that happened from winning that wild card game was we get to have a home game against Inter Miami in the playoffs, and that's going to be very valuable. And I don't like when the business decisions override the sporting decisions.
All right, guys, that was fun. Always a great time having our 2 capital J journalists on the show. Ball knowledge, questionable, but the takes are always hot. Curious guys, let the world know, what things have you done this week or released this week that you're proud of? Tell the people.
Oh man, it's just a lot of breaking news for me. Whether it's coaching, player movement, everything else. So we're in off-season mode for half of the teams in MLS. So I'm a very busy man. A lot of phone calls to make. So check my Twitter and everywhere else for breaking news.
Smash that bell button.
For me, a couple of fun things. Number one's interview with Rebecca Lowe of NBC Sports. She's talked a lot about Mauricio Pochettino, Emma Hayes, the growth of the game in the US. Quite a lot of Premier League chat there, so that's quite cool. And then also as a nice follow-on, there's been some conversations about about MLS switching to a fall to spring calendar, and there's a bit of analysis about that in the ether as well.
That wraps it up for today. Love doing the show with y'all. Thanks for coming on and being on the very small orange couch. Goal USA, the Rondo. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment rating these guys' ball knowledge, and we'll see you next week.